Hi. Hello. I'm back. Can you see me? Wait. Okay, can you see me? Here, I hope you can hear me. My mic is working, but if not, please message. Um, for those, everybody has a copy of your chart. Hi, iPhone. What's your name? iPhone. Hello. Okay. For those that don't have a copy of their natal chart, just to give everybody time to plot, I am going to screen share the QR code where you can actually find the calculator. I went ahead. Okay, so here's your the calculator or the link to the calculator. Plot it. It's best to actually have a copy of your own chart prior to this webinar. This will help you be able to follow as I discuss further what Patchy and Feng Shui is all about. Okay? Everybody has or none yet? If everybody has, we can start our session. But if not, I'll give you 3 minutes or 1 minute. Hello? Anybody? Can you hear me? Oh. Hello? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so we're only for, okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so 6:33 we'll start the entire session. I need to give you a heads up that this video will also be shown to the YouTube channel. But don't worry, all of your identity will be covered and they won't see you. Okay. All right. I thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Okay, so 6:33 will start. I'm assuming by 6:33 you have your calculator ready. Okay. Okay. Okay, 6:33. We're done. All right. So now I'm assuming everybody has a calculator. And so now we're going to talk about Patchy or BaZi, wealth god, and at the same time using the Feng Shui wealth sectors at the same time. But before we actually dive in, before I proceed, any questions first or expectations, violent reactions before we proceed? None? Okay. All right. I want to cover I want to, as much as possible, I want to cover everything. We're going to discuss a lot of things in this webinar. And there. So if you have any questions, just type and then I will get back to you. But for the time being, we are now going to proceed to the heart of our session. Okay, so but before we talk about what you call this webinar, I also want to share with you my journey when it comes to the Chinese metaphysics, my Chinese metaphysics journey. I've been very fascinated with Chinese metaphysics, particularly Patchy and Feng Shui since 2008. And I was actually working then as a HR practitioner. I was actually before I left the corporate world, I was actually an HR manager, and that's the reason why I actually appreciate so much Patchy. I'll explain later, but basically, I was I was in the corporate world, and I heard about feng shui, and I wanted to use it to my life. At that time, I really wanted to start my own business. And hi, Donalyn. Hi, Donalyn. Yes. Okay. Okay. I wanted to start my business, and then you know what? Why not try feng shui? So I did. And the book that I bought, the first ever book that I actually bought at that time was from that Joey Feng Shui. It's all basic information. It was classic And then from there, fortunately, I was able to start my online business. I was selling a different product back then, but then it did jumpstart my entrepreneurial journey, and then from there, I eventually opened up SDR Infinity. Unfortunately, 2015 to 2016, I was able to save up a lot, and I wanted to actually hire a full-time consultant. And if you're living in the Philippines, you might find him very familiar. So I found this one, and he has a billboard everywhere in Metro Manila. But anyways, I hired him. Unfortunately, his practice was actually all about charms, 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 and everything went down the drain after that. Primarily because it was using the charms that doesn't have a natural energy to activate the sector. So I became dependent on it primarily because of how he told me how to actually use the charms, just to rely on it. But in fact, it doesn't do anything because it doesn't have any natural energy to actually activate the sector. So eventually everything went down the drain, and then that's when that was 2016. I was going through severe anxiety and so much everything. So in 2017, finally, you know what? Why not study feng shui professionally? That's when I went in and took the professional course. And now my business is 8 years old, FDR Infinity. I also have a this one, the consultancy, and I opened it up in 2019, and I'm very happy to learn the art, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to share with you. And in 2020, we actually also opened up another business. We have this financial advisor. Yes, were able to open a branch, and we are there to help and assist in aiding our clients to achieve financial wellness. But that's not the point of our conversation, but basically to tell you exactly what I actually went through, and the fact that I actually use Patchy and Feng Shui in my life. And this, I am actually at testament to Chinese metaphysics, that it does change your life. It changes your behavior. It changes your mindset. It changes everything. Okay, so I want you to look at this as a tool. Okay, as a tool that would help you achieve your better self, or at least help you achieve your goals. All right, but okay, so what is Patchy? No, BaZi or Feng Shui, but it's pronounced as Patchy, BaZi, no, and Feng Shui. Patchy is all about astrology. It's basically based on the alignment of the planets that that's actually aligned at specific time, which is your birthday. And then Feng Shui is all about utilizing the energy that's given by our environment, that's actually coming from the mountains, and it's spread out through the water, and which the energy enters into our home. And the first time that this was actually practiced was actually was made for the tomb, and actually the most important part of Feng Shui, the Yin. Yes, Yin Feng Shui. It's all about tomb. But anyways, I'm going beyond. Okay, so basically these are tools that we can actually make use of, and our purpose is to actually allow us to live our life and not just react, right? Sometimes because of the circumstances or the fate that's given to us, and since we don't have the right tools or knowledge how to handle them, we end up reacting instead of living our life. So this is why I am actually sharing this to you, so you know how to at least utilize this daily, and yeah, make this part of your daily guide, basically, or yearly guide in a nutshell, especially if you're trying to plan your year or your life. All right. Okay. So how do we actually effectively use Patchy and Feng Shui? What I do, particularly when it comes to, I'm a business owner, and one of the most important parts for my business is strategic planning. And what I do with Patchy is I make sure that when I have a planning session with my team, and my partner is also my husband, what we do is we talk about what are the potential changes that can happen within this year, which I look at my Patchy and his Patchy, and then we align it in terms of, say, if we want to implement certain things, we time it according to our chart. Okay. On top of that, what I do is I use the feng shui, especially the annual, if there are short-term goals that we would like to achieve. Okay, that's how you actually use it. You don't let it control you. You use it to control your life. All right. So that's how we handle Patchy and Feng Shui, to help give us a guide on how we actually handle the circumstances that we have outside our the circumstances that's given to us. All right. Do you have any questions before we proceed? Nan. If I'm also going to explain to you, there's this cosmic trinity that's explained to me by my teacher. I'll also share it with you. There's what we call the heaven, the man, and the earth. Okay, so heaven is what Patchy is. Okay, meaning it's fated. It's something that's laid out to you. It's circumstances that's brought to you without your control. And then the earth is feng shui, wherein we have we're able to control or manage, and the man is primarily our actions. How do we respond to the circumstances around us? How do we respond to the situation that is brought upon us? Okay, at the end of the day, it's our actions that dictate our destiny. Clear? I hope everything's clear. All right, so basically we use them as a tool to help us, guide us, so we can effectively make our decision making and planning, all right, on a yearly basis. And if you're going to look at your Patchy chart, there is a 12 month plan. There's every 10 years, which is the luck pillar. But for the purpose of our discussion, because if we're going to discuss the entire chart, it's going to go beyond an hour. But basically, we're going to talk about all about the wealth star when we find it in our natal chart, and what do we do when we find it in an annual pillar. All right. Okay. So basically, this is what is this too big? Okay, I'll try to. Okay. So here is the image of our natal chart. Now, to find where our natal chart is, can you see the Patchy chart? This is, I'm trying to circle. This is where you find the natal chart. Okay, thank you, Sharon. Okay, so this is where we find the natal chart. Basically, without the natal chart, every bits and parcel of this Patchy chart is useless. Primarily because the natal chart is you. Okay, if we're going to interpret a natal chart, this represents personality. It gives you, and in summary, it also gives you an overview of what your life is going to be, okay? Or the potential opportunities that can come your way, and at the same time, how you react to others, all right? So basically, the most important part of this Patchy chart is the natal chart. So I want you to actually remember all the 4 animals that you have, and remember the day master. If you've been attending my forecast on a monthly basis, this is what our day master is. Okay, so we're going to use this as reference whenever we're going to do some forecasting, and always remember what is inside your natal chart, so you know what kind of animal, or animal that you want to refer to whenever you're watching any free forecast. All right, so there, just to give you an overview of what and where do we actually find the natal chart in our Patchy chart. Okay, hold on. Now we're going back. So basically, this is just to summarize. Okay, so if you've done, then we're going to move forward. All right, so now we're going to talk about my chart. My I think it's not updated. Anyways, we're going to talk about direct wealth and indirect wealth. Okay, so here is just to this is what we're going to refer to. Okay, indirect wealth and indirect wealth and direct wealth. Now, when we talk about indirect wealth, it is the dumb money, meaning it's not something that you work hard for, or this can also be inheritance or gambling money, wins. Okay, so And then the next one is direct wealth. This is coming from your career. This is what you work hard for on a monthly basis. This is your monthly gain from all your hard work. Right? Now, if we're going to talk about the natal chart, there is also an indication that's just not just for forecasting. It also indicates should you focus on in terms of career. Now, this before I I proceed, let me finish first because you might have some questions. But before you raise some questions, do listen to this entire session first. Not session, but at least this explanation when it comes to the direct wealth in terms of your natal chart. Okay, so if say for instance, can you see the share screen? I'm getting some warning that you're not. Hello? Yes, okay, thank you, Aya. All right, thank you so much. Okay. All right, so now we're looking at an example here wherein there's a direct wealth or indirect wealth. So regardless of what we actually see, what kind of wealth God that we're actually looking at, for as long as it's wealth, indirect wealth or indirect wealth, this what I'm about to explain to you is the same explanation. Now, if we actually find a direct wealth in either the heavenly stem, especially in your year pillar and month pillar, this actually represents that you're good. Okay, you're basically there is a skill or hidden talent when it comes to selling or marketing. So do check your chart and see if there is a direct wealth or indirect wealth in your heavenly stems, just upper part. Okay, this part. Okay, if you have a direct wealth, regardless of where, for as long as you have direct wealth, great. Okay, so Aya, that actually means the one of your hidden talents that you might not be aware of is selling. All right. So it's one of the skill sets that you can actually capitalize on or pursue as a career of choice, because this is one thing that you're actually good at. But of course, when you say good at, does that mean that I don't have to learn anything new? Of course, you have to learn everything. You have to continuously learn in order for you to develop yourself further, your skill set, and so on. And it allows you to keep your skill set up to date. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So what happens if, say, for instance, there is direct wealth in the hidden stems? What does that mean? What does that mean? Okay. It actually means that it's better for you to actually work in the back office or in terms of assisting or supporting people in the sales team. All right. So if you have direct wealth, especially in the hidden stems, then basically it's management. It's one of the skill sets that you actually have that you can pursue as in terms of self-development. If you're not sure of what to develop about yourself, then basically it's one, leadership. Great. Okay. Hidden stem. So basically management, leadership skills, and so on. Okay. It's basically in the back or in the back office or supporting the team that's representing the company. Okay. All right. Or yes, business management, creating a system in place, and so on. All right. Or sometimes creating or designing a product and so on and so forth. Okay. So if you have that in your hidden talents, that's one of the pursuits that you should actually develop further. Now, what if, say, for instance, you check your chart and you realize, okay, I have direct wealth or indirect wealth in my hidden stem, and I don't have in my year, but I'm in sales. What do I do? Then you learn. You develop your skill set further. You look for mentors to teach you on the right skill set and how to sell. All right. It doesn't mean that if, say, for instance, it's not here in your hidden or heavenly stem, that it's going to be hopeless. No. Okay. If you're not performing well in your business and you're in sales, then basically there are skills or knowledge that you're probably lacking in terms of selling. So what do? You educate yourself. You self-develop, look for mentors, and so on. Okay. The situation is not hopeless. Okay. Now, I remember, I don't know if you remember my statement a while ago when I said that why I love Patchy so much because I'm an HR practitioner. Okay, so heavenly STEM, perfect. Then you have all skill sets. You can, it's one of the strengths that you have, which is selling. It's a second nature to you. So develop it further, and leadership. So if, say, for instance, you have selling, does that mean that I'm a bad leader? Not at all. At the end of the day, everything that's here on earth can be learned and developed. All right. Any skills that we have here is something that we can develop. There's so many webinar classes that you can attend to that's focused on the skills that you need improvement. So that's what you do. You educate. All right. So anyways, just going back to my explanation about why I like Patchy so much. As an HR manager back then, one of the focus responsibility I had before was to find the strength of our employees so we would know where to actually put and assign them. Primarily because we always believe that in order for an employee to thrive in any position, we have to focus on the strength. All right. So that's what I want to relate to you. And the Patchy is one way for you to find out what your hidden talents and what your strengths are. And when you are able to develop that further, it becomes a passion. Because you're so good at it, you're able to develop and improve on it. It becomes your source of passion. Okay, so that's why I love Patchy. Now you know why I'm very passionate about Patchy. And as a matter of fact, it's my most requested service in my consultation business. Okay, it's discovering oneself. All right. So, anyways, so what if in my chart, what do I do? Okay, now we look at the annual. Okay, so my internet connection is unstable. I hope you can hear me. Okay. All right. So what do we do if we don't have any of the wealth stars in the natal chart? Now, what do? We look at the annual. All right. Now, when, say, for instance, look at this, there's a comparison. This one is not, I have here direct wealth in the heavenly stem, and this one is not. But we have indirect wealth in the hidden stem, as well as this one. Okay. What does that mean? Okay. If we find a direct wealth or indirect wealth in your annual pillar, again, annual 2021, but where do we find it? All right, hold on. I'll show you an example. Where do we actually find the annual part or the annual pillar? It's here. See? Okay, that's your annual pillar. All right, that's where you actually, what we refer to in case we don't have any direct wealth or indirect wealth in our natal chart. We look at the annual. All right. Now, what if you see your annual and there is direct wealth or indirect wealth in the heaven or in the hidden steps? Now, what do we actually do? Now, when we talk about direct wealth and indirect wealth in the heavenly stem, this doesn't mean that a wad of money will land on your lap one day. Of course not. Of course not. It's not what reality is. As a matter of fact, money is a form of energy, and in order for us to attain value to others, servicing to others, you must be able to do something that makes other people want to pay you. Okay, so at the end of the day, whenever there's a direct wealth in your annual pillar, annual pillar, it actually means that you actually have to work hard. It's not sitting pretty. It's not waiting for aid from your government. It's not waiting for you to win the lottery. No. In order for you to maximize the direct wealth or indirect wealth of your annual, you have to work hard. It's only 12 months. Then maximize that opportunity, that stars that's given to you, and work harder. Okay. However, what's the difference between the heavenly stems and the hidden stems when we're talking about the annual pillar? This actually means that if, say, for instance, in the heavenly stems, that it's easier for you to actually attain, or it's easier to actually get support or wealth or opportunities from others. It's handed to you easily. You don't have to exert much effort when it's actually found in the heavenly stamp. However, if say for instance we have this in the hidden stamp, what do? That actually means that there's much more effort to be given on your part in order to receive the energy of wealth or the monetary exchange from your own energy. So it's you must exert more effort as compared to the heavenly stem. All right. Indirect wealth is the dumb luck or the dumb money, as they say, primarily because not something that you work hard for. This can be a bonus. Okay. This can be a lottery win and so on. Okay. Or inheritance. Okay. But I would rather stick to the bonus or, yes, inheritance instead of relying on lottery. Lottery is not a good thing to wish for. As a matter of fact, if you wish for this, there is something in exchange that you have to offer. As my teacher, he would say that if somebody wins, your dog would die or something and so on. It's something that it has to be. There's an exchange that has to be taken from you. So I'd rather that you work hard, being and finding who you are, utilizing your skill set, being the better sense of self, being of service to others than wish for the lottery. All right? Okay. Yes, too much wealth deteriorates the health. That's the saying. It's very a famous saying here in Feng Shui. So as much as possible, we don't activate too many wealth sectors because what happens is too much opportunities, you end up getting stressed. This is basically in layman's term, overstress, overwork, and so on. Okay. So, any questions about the natal and the annual? No questions. None. Okay. How about Rob Wealth and annual pillar? Top, bottom, there is. Okay. So that I will discuss at the latter part of this session. Okay. For topics that are not included in this webinar, I will discuss that in the latter part of this session. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 So again, basically this is just to remind me what I was saying a while ago. So what now if you have a wealth star? Does that mean you just sit around and do nothing? Of course not. It's exchange of energy. It's energy and energy. There's always movement from your side in order to activate a sector, even to attain wealth. There should be movement. You just shouldn't wait for opportunities. We either make them, we look for them, do some actions, create, produce, give value to others, help others, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, in order for you to get that money, you have to produce energy or work or activity or value to others so that they'll be able to give you the amount of money that you're looking for, or so that they'll be able to hire you in order to solve their problem. All right. At the end of the day, anything, any position, any job, you're there is to solve the problem, solve other people's problem. Okay. Now, the more you're good at solving their problem, the more they pay you. The more opportunities come to you because they want you to solve their problem. I hope that makes sense in terms of getting that, maximizing the direct wealth or indirect wealth. You have to actually produce activities, create, give value to others, do some activities, do action. Okay. All right. Now, so what happens now if, say, for instance, you have direct wealth in the annual luck pillar and you want to maximize this further? Again, it's layers, right? Patchy. I'll explain to you when I do a consultation for my clients. The first thing I actually do is, of course, I assess. This is talking about Feng Shui consultation. Of course, I assess. I get all the details. Second is I look at their Patchy chart, and then they ask for their goals. Okay, my purpose is to align and make sure that the environment supports their goal, and at the same time using the Patchy for timing, or when is the best implementation of things? What are the best activities that you should focus on for the rest of 2021, and so on and so forth. So looking at that, same analogy when it comes to you. When we're looking at our Patchy chart, we look at the annual, you look at the data and see, okay, I have direct wealth and indirect wealth. So basically, I want to maximize this opportunity. What do? You activate the wealth sectors. Now, what are the wealth sectors? Which I'm not sure if I was able to lay out. But before we go there, I was able to lay out in my YouTube video. But before we actually go there in dissecting all the three wealth stars that you should actually chase, especially if you have direct wealth or indirect wealth, and you want to maximize the opportunity that's coming your way, I'll discuss that. Okay, so what's the best way to actually get your correct facing direction? This is an example to give you an idea. So this is your front of your house. It's not the main door. If you notice, there is a door here, and she's not standing in front of the door. She's standing in front of the house and making sure that this is the road. Basically, the most busiest road is where you actually face to get your facing direction. Okay. All right, so then you get now the compass. Any compass is fine for as long as your cell phone compass is good, for as long as it's properly calibrated. Okay, or I would also advise the military grade or the low shoe. Oh, low pan, sorry, low shoe, low pan. Okay, another, the compass that we actually use as Feng Shui consultant. All right, but if you can't find, this is not, it's not every day that you find the compass, you can actually use the military grade or your cell phone. Just make sure it's calibrated before you do any facing direction, and make sure that you're not surrounded with any metal to make the facing direction as accurate as it can be. Okay. All right. So no question. Okay. So basically, to discuss the flying stars. These are the flying stars for 2021. We have here the West for the flying star 8, and then the flying star 9 is in the northeast and the south. Okay, so what are the flying stars that we should have? The direct wealth or indirect wealth for 2021, and you're looking for new and further opportunities, then you chase the West, which is the flying star 8. It's always alignment. It's new opportunities. When 2020, just to share my story, 2020, yeah, last year, 2020, I had the direct wealth, and I really wanted to add additional stream of income. And it's one of the sectors I actually activated for 1 month, the Flying Star 8. What I did was I actually meditated in the sector. And that's when after that, a few weeks later, we decided to put a branch of an insurance branch in my city, near my city. And now I have another third business. Okay, so next is the marketing. Now, when we're talking about marketing, at the end of the day, if you're a business owner, always remember that marketing trumps sales. Okay, it's not who you know, it's who knows you at the end of the day. So if you're looking for new ideas for marketing and you're trying to find ways to actually make you known to others, okay? So the people will look for you and see you as someone that they actually need, then you activate the Flying Star 9. All right. Now, if you're looking, say for instance, you started a new business and you just want people to support you, then you activate the Noble People. Or if you're in sales and instead of marketing, you want to actually look for people that are willing to purchase your service, who are willing to support you, and so on and so forth, then you activate the Flying Star 1. Okay. However, when you activate these sectors, you have to also understand that it can be tiring. All right. And when we have the direct wealth and indirect wealth, it's also tiring. In our annual pillar, it's also tiring. It's going to be tiring. But if, say, for instance, this past years, you haven't been getting this break, and now this year you have the direct wealth and indirect wealth, you want to maximize that, especially at this time, in this climate, then you activate the sector. Then next year, you rest. Okay? Next year, you rest, you take a break, and so on. All right? At the end of the day, it's not all the time that you should actually keep on working because you don't want to get burnt out. Right? Okay. question. So direct wealth star nine, and the south is the noble people. So if you have a business support you, it's one. You know what? For this year, I am actually focusing or activating the south, which is the flying star one. There is a venture that we're trying to go in, so I want to activate support from others. So this is what I activate. Okay. Any questions? None? Clarification, confusion? None? Okay. All right. So to answer the question, like say for instance, if I don't have direct wealth in my or indirect wealth in my annual, nor do I have it in my natal chart, now what do I do? Now, basically, I want to actually introduce you to my new program that I actually am going to open up. If you have been following my website, you would have probably seen how much I actually do my consultation, and at the same time how much I actually charge for the one-on-one service. But before I actually go there, I want to leave you this part, and the reason why this is very, very important for me, it's actually true that millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. But the reason why JP Morgan actually believed this in so many levels, or even like all the billionaires in here in our current society. It's because it gives us the sense of control, right? And sometimes when we lack control over our life, it causes us the anxiety because we end up just reacting to things in our external, in our relationship, from our, our business and so on and so forth. But the fact that you have clarity on the steps of what you should actually do, it gives you a little bit of control how to actually respond in the event that there's an adversity coming, okay, or any change. You're no longer surprised. You expected it. As a matter of fact, you actually did change. Okay, so this is the reason why a lot of wealthy people, or especially in the Chinese tycoons or J.P. Morgan, was the first billionaire in the entire world. I'm not sure, but I think it's either Rockefeller or J.P. Morgan. It's the two of them. J.P. Morgan or Rockefeller, one of the first billionaires. But the reason why they actually believe that, because they want to have a sense of clarity in order to give them the right timing and action to actually make the right decision. Okay, so right now, yes, what is the meaning of in my natal month? Okay, yes, all right, that's actually a good question. That's basically what I'm going to open up to discuss based to this May 29 and May 30. And it's quite a bargain that I'm opening up because I actually, my webinar for the fundamentals of, or basic fundamentals of Patchy and Feng Shui are quite expensive. You can actually check my website. But right now, I'm actually, and all the questions that you have, the indirect resource in your natal chart, because you'll be given a sufficient guide. So this webinar will be at least a good guide on how you're actually going to handle, or at least to have an overview what your year is, say for 2022. Okay, I have direct, indirect resource, and so on in my natal chart. Now, this is what I should focus on. Okay. Basically, these are the what you're going to have for the day master. Basically, what are the basic day master personality that you have if you're a Yiwood, a Jawwood, and so on. Understanding the 10 gods for yearly planning. Case in point, what you're asking right now is indirect resource. What are the actions that you should align yourself when you have an indirect resource for your heavenly stems and your annual? That is going to be answered as well. Expecting changes, like, okay, for the rest of the year, you can expect a specific month to be quite more difficult for you, probably, or you can use this month for creating changes in terms of your business, employment, and so on and so forth. The expecting changes is all about the animals clashing and so on. And then the facing direction of end year period. Okay, so if, say, for instance, your home is built in the period 7, and then you're facing southwest, these are the flying star combination that you have in your property. I'm actually going to do this one because I know this is very cheap, but yes, basically all the information that I have here, it's missing sectors. How do you actually handle that? How do you actually use those sectors? Or what actually happens if you have a missing sector? And then sectors to chase based on your annual chart. So again, from your planning, and then you look at your BaZi. That's how I actually use Patchy and Feng Shui. I have a planning, I have a goal setting, and then I look at my Patchy. When do I implement? What do I actually do? All right. Favorable directions, and what do you actually do when what are the certain sectors that you should actually face, or how do you actually handle this if there is a bad sector or a bad flying star in your sector or your favorable direction, and so on. And then the annual noble stars. This will also include 3 months of Feng Shui calendar if you want to chase the annual noble stars. If you're in my group, you can see there that on a monthly basis, I actually do some free information as to when to activate certain sectors. Basically, if you actually join this webinar, I'm going to give you 3 months free, and I'm going to also teach you how to actually use the Feng Shui calendar, especially when you're going to do some timing for activation. Okay, and then next is career affinity and hidden talents. It's all in summary. What are, if say, for instance, you have indirect resource in your month pillar, what does it represent? What are your 10 strengths? What are the hidden talents of your 10 strengths? Is actually also included in this webinar. Now, if you know my pricing, it's you know you know my pricing, but now I'm doing this. Since it's going to be a webinar, I brought down the price. And if you are interested, please actually plot the QR code. I am going to open this very limited slot only, because I can only have very limited slots here on Zoom. So if you're interested. All right. Questions. Are there questions about indirect resource or Rob? Well, basically, if you're willing to attend this, you'll learn everything, and so you know the reference. You'll be given a handout, and the video recording. The video recording will only be available for 30 days, though. But you will be given some handouts, so this can you can refer to this anytime if ever you want to compare your annual chart. So at least have a summary of the entire session. Questions? Violent reaction? None? Oh, they went silent. Okay. No more questions, clarifications? Ay, nag-iisip. Oh, wow. She's thinking. Okay, so there you go. Fine. I'll stay for a few minutes while you're still thinking of the question. Yes, this is only a one-time thing, and I won't be doing this the rest of the year. Okay. All right. No questions. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining my webinar. I hope you learned something today. At least the direct wealth, you know how to actually use if you have a direct wealth in your annual pillar. And if you actually have this in your natal, remember, if it's in the heavenly stem, one of your strengths is actually selling or marketing. And if you are actually in the hidden stems, then basically it's the back office creating. What is the auspicious for facing house? Okay, it depends on the owner. It depends on the owner, and at the same time your purpose. But if in terms of 8th mansion, there is also a plot that you can actually check depending on the facing direction. Same goes to the flying star. It depends on that as well. Not all the time that we are able to utilize all the auspicious sector unless it actually serves the purpose of our goal. Remember that. It's not always that there are positive sectors that we're able to utilize it if we don't know how to utilize it well. At the end of the day, it stems from what do you want, what facing you have, what environment you have, and so on and so forth, and what are you willing to actually do about it. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. So it varies, not just us have, and so on. Yes. If say for instance you have a fast moving product, and a good example is a good facing direction is northwest. But which one? Northwest 1, which northwest 2. But in terms of fast moving products, northwest 2 is also a good facing direction. Okay, if your business is fast moving. Okay, if say for instance in real estate is also different. I hope that's clear. Okay, so that's also part of the module, the webinar. It's the combination of the flying stars and how do you actually utilize it at the same time. South facing, depending again with your purpose, what's your goal, what's your business, what's your employment. That has to be aligned with you, with your goals and your job, etc. Yes, so it depends. Okay. At the end of the day, Feng Shui won't work if you don't know what you want. If you don't know what your purpose, what your goal, what you're trying to achieve, Feng Shui won't work. Stars for sales. Okay, depends. If you say, for instance, you want to do some marketing, 9. But if, say, for instance, you want to just sell to people, flying sector, sector south, for noble people. And then what you do, okay, what you do during, say, when you're trying to activate the south sector is you call people there, or you work in that sector. You do some marketing, or you say cold calling in that sector. Okay, so to activate the. Right. Okay. No more? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you again. Bye.